Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Effectively Managing Your Gas Costs. I'm Vinny Civitillo, Communications Manager for the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. With us today are Steve Swetz and Hardley Dupont of PSE&G. A few housekeeping matters before we get started. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be emailed to you tomorrow along with the PowerPoint for today's presentation, so be on the lookout for those. If you just can't wait, you can download them right now from the Handouts tab, but I'd also like to draw your attention to the Questions tab. Steve and Hardley would be happy to take all of your questions, so don't hesitate to write them in as they come to you. And I can't stress that enough. Write them in as they come to you, or you may forget what you wanted to ask by the time we get to the Q&A. So now let's get things started. Steve?
Thanks, Vinny. Good morning, everyone. I'm here on behalf of PSE&G, and we're going to talk about three things today. I'm going to talk about the first two items. We're going to talk about a safety message on gas leak and carbon monoxide safety concerns, and then what my bread and butter, we're going to talk about your gas bill and charges that you receive. Then Harley's going to talk about energy saving behaviors. Okay, so natural gas, a lot of people may know that, they smell that gas smell. Natural gas is actually odorless, and we actually add a odorant called mercaptan to make sure that you can identify it through smell. Okay, to identify a gas leak, there's basically three things. As I said, number one, you can smell it. Two, you may hear it. If it's a large gas leak and it's under pressure, you can hear it. And then third, you can actually see it. If it's underground and either underwater, you could see bubbles or you can see dirt spewing for no apparent reason. So that could be an indication of a gas leak. Okay, so what to do if you smell gas? The first thing you do is just get out. You get out of the building and move away about a football field away at least. On your way, leave the door open. The main thing is because if there is gas where you are, it would allow gas to escape and reducing the chance of any type of mishap. Then the third thing is probably the most important thing, call 911. You could call PSE&G, but I would say the best thing is to call 911 first, and then if you want to call PSE&G, feel free and go right ahead. The number's right there. And then obviously stay away until it's made safe by either PSE&G or first responder personnel. The three things that you definitely want to not do at all costs is basically turn on any appliances. Basically, you want to do anything that would cause a spark. Obviously, with a gas leak, any spark could be a source of ignition. So don't turn any appliances or on-off switches. Your cell phone, obviously light a match, and then assume someone else is going to do about it. If you're in a building, say, and you're just a guest, don't assume the building owner or someone else. If you smell it, take action. Get out, leave the door open, and call 911. Okay. Basically, a call before you're dead. Everyone knows that gas is delivered through a network of pipes underneath the ground. So probably one of the biggest causes of gas leaks is accidental hits. And most of the time it's due they don't call for a mark out and it gets hit during construction. So basically, if you're going to dig in, this goes for you even if you're at home, say doing a little landscaping in the front of the lawn, you never know how the pipes are laid out in your house. So we're doing any work, either in your work or even at home, call 811. That's one number to call, and they'll put flags out to stay away. So in your business, they say they have to come out in 3 days advance, with holidays, and sometimes they get busy. I would definitely plan a week ahead of time if you have crews coming to your place of business to do some work. Make sure they've called 811 and get it marked out before they do any type of work. Okay, carbon monoxide. This is a odorless gas, and there's nothing you can do about smelling it. So the best thing is install its carbon monoxide detectors. It's very, very important. If it goes off, don't say, well, let's go look for it. Basically, get out and call 911. The symptoms of, if you're feeling nauseous, you have a headache or dizziness, could be carbon monoxide. Basically, get out and call 911. You could always go back in and say, oh, have it checked out. Call first responders, and they can come in to double check if say your CO detector, is not working, but they can come in and they'll check your house. It's very, very important. There's a couple of other items that you could see, basically soot near your appliances, like especially your furnace. That means there could be a leak in your chimney or your exhaust system. That could be a sign. Basically, cars or any type of gas engines. If you smell an exhaust type system, that could be something, a car outside next to your intake on your heating or cooling system bringing in carbon monoxide. So if you smell that car exhaust smell, that could be a sign of you have a carbon monoxide problem. Also moisture on the inside of your walls. And obviously, like houseplants are dying, that could also be a sign. Not that you're not a green thumb, but it could be that you have a carbon monoxide issue. Okay, how can carbon monoxide be avoided? Basically, make sure all your appliances are maintained and check up. Make sure your furnaces get an annual checkup before the winter. It'll ensure that it works properly, but B, they can find issues with your flue or whatever that could cause carbon monoxide. Basically, if you have say a generator, a lot of people, if there's power issues and they put in generators, don't be tempted to put it in the garage because it's easier. Make sure it's way, at least 10 feet away from the building. And so the carbon monoxide fumes do not get into the place of business. And then obviously any type of chimneys or vents, make sure there's no to vent, especially if there's a snowstorm. Some of the new heating equipment has side vents. So if there's a big snowstorm, make sure that the chimneys and vents are kept clear of debris. Excuse me. Okay, the next portion of our webinar will be understanding your business gas bill and charges. Excuse me. Basically, your bill is made up of two components. The majority of it is supply charges, and to a lesser extent, delivery charges. Supply charges are basically the cost of the commodity. So that's basically the gas supply, either coming from the Gulf or now with the advent of shale gas. Basically, you have the ability to shop for gas. So PSE&G offers default supply as BGSS, or you can shop with a third-party supplier. Excuse me. The lesser part of your bill is actually delivery charges. That's basically the pipes and wires part of the business, and also any social programs, which we'll get into more detail on the next slide. The delivery charges of your bill, basically three main components from providing service that PSE&G provides to you guys, is the service charge, distribution charging, and balancing charges. Service charges are fixed costs such as meter billing and customer service. Basically, they don't change with the amount of gas you use, so we pay a fixed charge per month. Distribution charges recovers costs associated with the distribution itself. They're really the main charges that recover the pipes and wires, the pipes part of the business for gas, and or actually a small portion of the bill, and we'll get into that later. Balancing charge is basically the provision of storage and peaking services. Basically, in the winter, we can't bring in, on the very, very cold days, we can't bring in all the gas that's needed per day. So what we do is we store gas in gas storage facilities nearby in Pennsylvania and salt caverns. And we also have peaking services where basically we have LNG and propane gas that we inject into the system locally to maintain pressure to keep everyone warm during the winter. Also in that basically uses the same balancing thing as weather normalization. So when weather's cold and we collect basically too much, we'll actually offer a refund the following winter based upon normal weather. The final part of the bill is clauses. These are basically societal benefits charges that basically collect societal costs such as the Office of Clean Energy that the state runs. Gas actually used to be manufactured from coal in the old days, and we have some older sites that need to be cleaned up. So we collect money to pay for that environmental cleanup. US and Lifeline are basically to take care of low income providers if people are having problem paying their bill. And finally, our specific EE programs are collected under our green programs recovery charge. Okay, so with that being a portion of the bill, what does that mean? I apologize. This for a small commercial customer, you can see about 40% of the bill is actually delivery, of which about 34% is for distribution, which is basically us providing the gas through our pipes and billing. A majority, 60%, is actually the cost of the commodity itself. As you can see, with the advent of shale gas, the supply costs have really come down and have driven the cost of the bill significantly lower. Accounting for inflation, your bill is basically using the same amount is almost half when considering inflation. For a large customer, the distribution portion of the bill is even smaller. Obviously, they're being served with a larger pipe. It doesn't cost that much to get a larger pipe in the ground. So basically, that's one driver that drives down the distribution costs relative to the total bill. And as you can see here, distribution and clauses are only about 30% of the bill, and about 70% is from supply. Same thing, even to a greater extent, it's over 50%, 53% when accounting for inflation. The large customers bill compared to 2008. And finally, how do our rates compare to other Northeast utilities? As you can see, for the smaller customers are on the left. We're in the lower third, and we're right in the middle as far as the large gas customers. So basically, PS is proud that we offer such reliable service, and we're able to do it at affordable rates. So are you on the right rate? Usually the smaller customers are on a rate they call general service or GSG, or our larger firm customers are on LVJ. But if you're not sure, you can always reach out to the Business Solutions Center. And the number's right on the slide here. And they will be glad to conduct a rate analysis to ensure that your getting the most advantageous rate for your usage. So with that, you can, if you really want to know more about the tariff and your gas charges, you can go out to our website and click on the regulatory site where you can access our tariff, and also supply charge history for our BGR default supply, and then understanding your annual bill you receive in the mail. And we also post it on our website. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Harley when he can talk about how to save gas and what you can do to lower your bill.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you, your members, NJBIA, and thanks again, Steve, for that awesome information regarding and understanding the gas rates for our small business customers. Before I begin, just would like to say that yes, it may seem a little odd that as a utility, we are providing tips to small business customers to use less of our service, but we want you to see us as your energy advisor. We want to be seen and to be known as your partner in helping you run your small business as efficiently as possible. So we know that if you're using less commodities, we're having a direct impact on your bottom line. And we want you to come to us to teach you and to let you know and provide incentives to you to make your facility run as energy efficiently as possible. With that being said, let's begin. We have several categories of gas saving behaviors and tips. This first slide that's on the screen here focuses on thermostat management. Typically, we want to make sure that your facility is not too hot or too cold. We always recommend that your thermostat is set between 66 degrees or 68 degrees during the heating months. But one thing that we are not aware that we typically should take advantage of is that by just lowering the thermostat just 1 degree can reduce your heating bill by up to 3%. And what's amazing about this is that you will not feel any comfort decrease or feel less comfortable within the space. So you can begin to start saving more energy, using less energy, saving more money, but it has no impact on your comfortability within the space. Now, as it's time to leave the facility, you can start to reduce your thermostat by as much as 10 degrees, about 30 minutes before you close your business. The residual heat within the facility will keep yourself and your employees warm. But the amazing thing is that because you have already set the thermostat up to 10 degrees below 68 degrees, you will start to receive an immediate impact and benefit on your energy bill. But we understand that it is very hectic. As a small business owner, you are wearing multiple hats, and you may not be aware or have the time to think of these things on a daily basis. So we highly recommend that you install a programmable or smart thermostat that essentially learns your facility and will begin to implement energy saving habits without you having to do much on a daily basis at all. Now, the first slide was about thermostat management. The other area where we can start to receive energy saving benefits is to analyze how well insulated is your facility. One thing that we need to be aware of is there's a lot of opportunities where cold air can enter into your facility and hot air, or heated air, can escape. So we want to identify and eliminate all gaps. And typically those gaps exist around windows and doors. So a very low cost but effective method of reducing your energy usage and increasing your comfort is to analyze your windows and identify if there's any existing gaps simply by caulking around those windows or adding new weatherized stripping can increase the comfort and lower your energy usage. Of course, this seems like common knowledge, but in the hustle and bustle of managing a successful small business, we may fail to take advantage of these simple recommendations. A second one is to simply identify and repair all doors and windows that don't close completely. Of course, third is replace and fix any broken glass. But the last bulletin on this slide, I think I also failed to take advantage of this in the comment, is to open up the blinds, let in that natural sunlight. If you have a working thermostat, it will accommodate the heat that you will receive from the low sun into your facility, and thereby reducing the amount of heat that your thermostat has to inject into the space and maintaining your comfortability. Now, within your small business, we all have hot water tanks. If you don't have instantaneous hot water service or product, you most likely have a hot water tank within your facility. So these are savings or tips that you can implement to ensure that you're not using too much heat to provide hot water to your space. If you touch the hot water and you can feel that the tank is hot, similar to the previous slide, that means there's too much heat that's being used or escaping into the surrounding area. You should add insulation to the hot water tank. So that means it's not too much heat is escaping, and it's just heating enough heat that's used to heat the hot water. And you should also continue to provide annual maintenance to the hot water tank. It's not something we think about as a top of mind priority during the hustle and bustle of running a small business, but over time, sediment can accumulate at the bottom of the tank water heater. So you want to do an annual maintenance to flush it to make sure it's running as efficiently as possible. Now, if you're not a food service or a restaurant, you can also lower the maximum temperature of the hot water tank, therefore saving energy because you're not using heat to heat the water up to your typical 120 degrees. But if you lower it to 105 degrees, you'll still receive the hot water, your comfort is not interrupted, and your employees and yourself are still comfortable and should still receive enough hot water to heat the space. But most importantly, you will be saving money. And last but not least, you should always, as part of your annual maintenance, is to ensure that all your appliances are inspected by a qualified technician. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Looks like we have a couple questions that have come in already, but I want to give you a second to write in anything you've got. While I'm doing that, I'll take a second to remind you about the handouts tab. We get a lot of questions from people about how to download the slides. So just open up the tab marked handouts in your GoToWebinar panel, and the file is right there. You can also just wait until tomorrow, and they'll be emailed to you along with the video of today's presentation. And there's the questions tab. If you have a question, type it in right there, and I'll make sure our guests answer it. And don't be shy. You've got two experts here, so make sure to take advantage of them. So with all of that out of the way, the first question comes from Anthony, who asks, will I be able to save money on my gas bill by going with a third party?
I'll take that question, Benny. The answer is maybe. Every customer is unique on how they use gas, and it depends on market conditions and the BGSS offering. The best thing is to do your homework, look at your past bills. The default service for BGSS is set on a monthly basis, so you can see where the gas has gas prices have been and competitively shop. The gas business has been on the supply side, had to offer third-party suppliers, I believe, since the late 80s, early 90s, and it's a pretty active market on the commercial side.
Great. We have one from Carol who asks, which is less expensive, natural gas or heating oil?
I'll take that one again. Basically, natural gas prices, as you've seen in the slides, our gas bills have come down significantly, and the main reason driving that is the abundant shale gas through newer technology that's been available to our markets. Currently, natural gas is about half the price on an energy basis compared to fuel oil.
I've got one here from Lakesha who asks, my bill is high for someone who is hardly home. I give my toddler baths every night. Could that be part of the reason? With that said, should I install a shower head?
There could be a lot of things happening as to why your heating bill will be high. If you're hardly home, I would probably suggest getting your home tested to see if there's any gaps within your home where there's a lot of cold air that's entering to your space. Installing a shower head, if you will, you can install a regular one or a low flow shower head, but the first step I would suggest is to first analyze the envelope of your home. And you can, depending on your income, there are several programs that are available that you can receive that service for free or at a mitigated cost. I can provide that resource later offline.
Thank you. We have one here that's kind of a follow-up to the question before. Jennifer asks, how is it that third parties are able to offer cheaper prices than PSE&G?
PSE&G offers its default service, which is called, its acronym is BGSS, which is Basic Gas Supply Service. We set that price based on rules approved by the BPU, which is based on the market prices. Third-party suppliers are able to, they could possibly beat that price if they buy gas ahead of time at different times of the market and secure low prices for the time. Conversely, they also may go up and down. So the best thing is to do your homework, see where the market, look at the past prices, get quotes from different suppliers, and then choose the most economic price for you.
One here from Chris. Is there a ROI in changing your standing pilot heater to an automatic ignition? What is the consumption of natural gas on a standing pilot alone?
That's a tough question. I will have to get back to you on that. I don't know that particular technical detail off the top of my head, but that's something I'll definitely follow up with you shortly. I can get your information. I'll respond to you directly.
Thanks. I'll make sure you get it. Tony asks, are there demand charges similar to electricity?
For large customers, there is a demand charge for gas, but it's not, I would say it's not very similar to electric, where it's based, usually for large customers, it's based upon a 15-minute increment of gas. Demand charges are measured on a daily basis and are charged only during the winter time.
One here from Janet. How do I determine the billing rate for my usage?
The best thing is to look at your bill and your overall price. If you look at your history, will be total bill divided by your total therms. So that would basically give you your average rate for the past year. or you could do it on a monthly basis. If you want to look at your winter rate, just take the total dollars for that period and divide it by the total usage or your therms. To help you shop on the supply side, if you're getting quoted a rate in dollars per therm, we do supply a price to compare on the bottom of the bill, where you will say your supply costs and what we're currently charging for supply versus what your third-party supplier would be charging you. So there's really two ways you can look at your gas bill.
I've got a couple left here, but keep them coming. We'll keep the Q&A open as long as the questions are flowing in. So David wants to know if there are any green energy programs for businesses available now.
Hi, David. That's a fantastic question. I am the manager of the Energy Saver program, which is about out of funding at the moment. But what we do is we provide financial incentives to small business customers, nonprofits, and government entities where we provide energy saving equipment such as lighting, HVAC, heating and cooling equipment to small businesses up to 70% off, and we offer on-bill interest-free financing. So there's no money upfront out of your pocket to install this energy efficient equipment, and the 30% that's financed on your bill is interest-free up to 3 years. At the moment, that program is out of funds, but we are very hopeful to receive new funding in the very, very near future. So I'll ask our host to provide your information, and you can have my information, and we can continue speaking if you essentially. And once the new funding is available, I can reach out to you so you can apply to upgrade your facility.
I'll definitely do that. So here's one that's putting you guys on the spot. Steve would like to know how much he can expect his PSE&G gas bill to go up over the next 5 years.
There's a lot of factors that go into the bill. Obviously, supply costs, distribution costs, and societal costs, the three things that I talked about. Where's the stock market going to be in 5 years? Anyone knows. I can tell you that if supply costs stay the same, currently we think, we're doing a lot of upgrading to our facilities, recently approved gas system modernization program, our second phase of that. And we have proposed our clean energy filing, which is a response to the Clean Energy Act, where utilities are mandated to save energy. We kind of project that a portion of the bill is going to go up about on an average about 1% per year over the next 5 years. But that's a small piece of the puzzle. So gas prices have come down on the supply side significantly since 2008, and there's no impending crisis or change to that current dynamic. So you could expect supply prices over the short term. Now, things can change, but say kind of current forecasts continue to see low supply prices.
Denise asks, any suggestions for making a warehouse with a drive-up dock and garage door more insulated?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. Any suggestions for making a warehouse with a drive-up dock and garage door more insulated?
Okay, so you could add insulation to the panels, but that's not really popular in warehouses. To reduce your heating bill, I would say most effectively would be to ensure there's no gaps of cold air entering the space. So ensure there's no gaps within the windows. Upgrading your windows is very expensive. It takes a really long time to get an ROI, return on your investment. But if they're broken windows, I would recommend replacing those as well. And you can install a more efficient heater for your space. That would probably be the most effective and least costly ways to warm up your warehouse space.
All right, the last question comes from Peter. He has two. I'm going to ask them together just in case they're related, but if you want to separate them out, feel free. So Peter asks, does PSE&G have any rebate programs going on now? And then as a separate question, he's asking, I'd like to know what the percentage amount that PSE&G stands to make from the commodity charge is.
So we do have rebate programs. Depending on the type of customer you are, for small businesses, currently our energy saver program is not available. But as Steve stated earlier, we do have our clean energy filing that includes about 22 programs, about 12 dedicated specifically for commercial and industrial customers, where it's focused on upgrading your facility to make it as energy efficient as possible and to lower your energy costs. We want to be your energy advisor. We want to be your partner in making your facility as energy efficient as possible. And we believe and we're confident that our filing, the clean energy filing, will be available in the very near future.
Okay, and the second part of the question, can you just make sure I address?
Sure. So he's asking, he'd like to know what the percentage is that PSE&G stands to make from the commodity charge.
Okay. PSE&G does not make any profit on the commodity charge. It's a straight pass-through. Whatever we have a dedicated vendor that supplies us, that serves our default gas charges, and whatever the price we pay, we pass it on to you. There's no profit made by PSE&G on a commodity charge.
Okay, well, that's all the questions we have, so it's a good time as any to bring things to a close. Don't forget, all of you will be receiving a recording of today's webinar and the PowerPoint slides via email. Lastly, when you close out of the webinar, a survey will come up on your screen that we hope you'll fill out so we can understand how to best provide you important information in a webinar format. Our next webinar, Engaging the Next Generation of Manufacturing Professionals, will take place February 5th. So by all means, feel free to register for that one on our website at njbia.org. So until next time, for Steve Swetz and Hardley Dupont, this is Vinny Civitello thanking you for being with us this morning and wishing you a good day.